Hello, so today we are going to start with my polity notes that I have made out of the test that I have given and out of the things that I found to be important and things that might be really useful in the examination. So let's go. Article 13 exception. Article 13's exception is what? Constitutional amendment not included in Article 13 definition of law. Okay, I need to remember is that any constitutional amendment is not basically law. This is said by Article 13. Article 3, Article 2 changes modification to first and fourth schedule only. Okay, so what is the first schedule? First schedule is Union and its territories. And what is the fourth schedule? Fourth schedule is allocation of seats to Rajya Sabha. So what it is saying, if you change Article 3 and if you do any changes in Article 2, it will directly impact Article 1 and Article 4 only. We need to just remember that. And Article 3 and Article 2 are basically with respect to alteration of boundaries of respective state, etc. That is it. Preamble adopted after entire constitution was adopted. Okay, this key information sometimes I tend to forget. I don't know why. And this is not enforceable. Fundamental duty is not part of original constitution. Yes, fundamental duty was not part of original constitution. It was added afterwards, and it is added in which article? Article 51A. We need to just remember that. This Philadelphia corridor is between Israel and Lebanon. I think this was just from my test that I had given, so we can ignore it. Philadelphia corridor. Prohibition of discrimination practice or any profession move freely, not available to foreigner. Okay, this is a fundamental right, and prohibition of discrimination is, I think, Article 17. Practice of any profession move freely, not available to foreigners. We will see further ahead. I will make a table where there is like this, which fundamental rights are available exclusive to Indian citizens and not to foreigners. We'll see that in the coming points. Preamble's blueprint was originally in objective resolution that was moved by Jawaharlal Nehru. So you need to just remember that. Feature and inspiration. Governor's office was inspired from Government of India Act 1935. Removal of judges of Supreme Court and High Court was inspired from US Constitution. Now we will see education's articles, respective articles. Article 21A talks about education of children. Article 51A talks about fundamental duty. Fundamental duty where you have where it is a duty of the individual to provide education and care for for children of 0 to 6 years old. Article 45. Article 45. Acha, this is actually this. Acha, okay. Article 45. Child care to less than 6 years and preschool. Okay. Provincial Constitution Committee was headed by Sardar Patel. Committee on Negotiations with with states. This was actually in confusion with the Sardar Patel ji, but it is actually Jawaharlal Nehru. We need to just remember these two committees: Negotiation Committee and Provincial Constitution Committee. These two might appear a little bit confusing, but we need to remember these by heartedly, because these 2 points are a little bit contentious. I won't say it is contentious, but we tend to forget or interchange these topics easily. Rules of procedure by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Okay. Constitution English calligrapher. You just need to remember this name of Razaida, and Hindi version was by Vasant Vaidya. That is it. Judiciary cannot declare law void, that is that it violates a DPSP. Okay, judiciary can't say that this law violates article number 51 of international peace, promotion of international peace, etc. So it cannot do that. Okay, it can only declare law void if it violates a fundamental right. That is it. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978, what it says: minimize inequality in income opportunity. 86th Amendment Act 2002, early childhood care and education. 97th Amendment 2011, promotion of cooperative societies. Okay, This is good. I need to just remember this. DPSP similar to Instrument of Instructions Government of 1935. Okay. Whistleblowers Protection Act. Anonymous complaints not entertained, and SFG are exempted from this. Lokpal Act. Also, this is also same. Anonymous complaints are not entertained. You cannot be anonymous and complain. You need to disclose your identity. Freedom of religion right, not enforceable against a private individual or an entity. Yes, obviously. Israel unwritten constitution. Okay. National Population Register (NPR). Remember this. Citizenship Amendment Act. Database of residents of India, including foreigners. National Register of National Register of Citizens (NRC). Only Indian citizens. Only Indian citizens. This might be a little bit. This can also be presented in the UPSC exam as a trap statement. Sarkaria Committee, Center-State Relations. Swaran Singh, Fundamental Duty. Rajamannar, State Autonomy, and Balwantrai Mehta, Panchayati Raj System. Dhar Commission rejected linguistic reorganization. JVP rejected linguistic reorganization. Fazal Ali actually accepted linguistic reorganization. So you need to remember this. This was actually by Jawaharlal Nehru, JVP, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Wait, let me see it once again. Let's see what was JVP. JVP committee members. It was headed JVP committee. We'll see just this. If I'm not, yes, see, it was constituted by Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Pithabi. That is it. In 1947 Independence Act, Viceroy abolish. Governor General continued to function, and the first Indian Governor General of independent India was C. Raja Gopalachari. After some time in 1940, if I'm not wrong, then Rajendra Prasad was elected as president. So Raja Gopalachari's post as Governor General was discontinued once president was elected. Reorganization, alteration of boundary, name of state, simple majority. Any house of parliament can introduce. Prior approval of president is required in article number 3. Okay, this is important. And permission, okay, and permission from state is not required in this. We need to just remember that Kerala's name is being changed, right? So yeah, basic structure doctrine applies only for constitutional amendment and not ordinary legislation to challenge and strike down. Yeah. Election of president, MP, value of vote equal for all. MLA, same state equal. Yes, different state unequal. Tribal welfare minister. Okay, mandated by constitutions for 4 states only: Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, and Madhya Pradesh. Just remember this. Council of Ministers 15%, maximum strength, minimum is 12. Rajya Sabha composition, total are 250 members as per constitution. Seats not 250 as per constitutions. Maximum representation of state plus union territory should not exceed 238. Okay. Lok Sabha maximum from states are 530 and maximum from union territory is 520. Granting pardon by president is not discretionary. It is subjected to a recommendation of Council of Ministers. No discretion to president in any circumstance as compared to governor. Correct. State Legislative Council, 1/3 members are elected by local bodies, 1/3 by state legislative assemblies, 1/12 by teachers of 3 years, 1/6 nominated by governor. Okay, if you just want, we can remember this. Otherwise, I don't think the output ratio is much higher here. Departmentally related standing committee members nominated by Speaker and Vice President, that is Chairman of Rajya Sabha, for tenure of 1 year. Okay. CEC salary pension not charged on Consolidated Fund of India under Article 112 subsection 3. Okay. Interstate Council does not have fixed number of meetings required. Yeah. In some books there is written a little bit confused sentences that either 2 or either 3 in a year it is required, but that is not ideal and it is not mentioned anywhere. Just remember this. Private member, 1 month notice for introduction of bill. Minister requires only 7 days. Resignation of prime minister is equal to collapse of government. Is equal to collapse of council of ministers. Government falls. PM and council of minister inseparable unit. If one falls, entire government falls. Okay. SMR use uranium, not thorium as primary fuel. Okay. Impeachment charges of president signed by at least one-fourth members. One-fourth members. 136 notice period. Okay. Union territories are represented. Union territories are represented in zonal councils. Yes. Charged expenditure discussed but not voted in parliament yet included in appropriation bill with bill for withdrawal of consolidated fund of India. Appropriation bill voted. Voted expenditure charged. Okay. So what is mean that for appropriation bill there is no voting taken place because it is for consolidated fund of India. Dual membership disqualification. House. Higher post becomes vacant first. MP post vacant if not resigned from MLA in 14 days. State Legislative Assembly vacant if not resigned as council. Resign from Council of States actually. If he is elected to both Parliament and Council of States, he must resign from Council of States in order to get his seat at Parliament. IPC of 1860 is changed to Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Council of Code of Criminal Procedure, Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and evidence is Saksha Adhiniyam. Predatory pricing, selling a product below cost to eliminate competitors and dominate market. Convention against torture, cruel, inhuman, and degraded treatment, punishment has not been ratified by India. Ordinance cannot be issued to amend the constitution. This was asked in 2025 prelims paper, that governor can change fundamental rights through ordinance. This was asked. Appointed by governor but removed by president. State Public Service Commission, Election Commission, Human Rights Commission. Vice President removal, special majority in Rajya Sabha and simple majority in Lok Sabha. President plus governor only. Oath to preserve, protect and defend the constitution. MP can be arrested in criminal case when House is in session. Yes. MP cannot be arrested in civil cases before 40 days of commencement of session, during plus after 40 days of session, but he can be arrested otherwise. Termination of Indian citizenship under under citizenship 1955 would not happen during war in which India is engaged. Okay. Entire population of new territory does not automatically become Indian citizens. Government issues gazette or order. Constitution can be amended through simple majority of parliament, boundary, etc. Special majority of parliament, special majority plus ratification of half of state legislature. Constituent Assembly adopted elephant as its seal. Yes. Criminal contempt and civil contempt. This is a little bit point where everyone gets confused, and it is a little bit shocker also, because we think publishing material interferes with course of judicial process, and in civil contempt it includes willful disobedience, making criticism in public forum, and breach of undertaking. President plus vice president election dispute solved by or looked after by Supreme Court, and High Court looks after the election dispute between MLA for MLA and MP elections. Writ cannot be issued when person is detained for contempt of court of legislature. Speaker's power to regulate the procedure and conduct of business of House is not subjected to jurisdiction of any court. Yes. Murci-Iyengar formula, adoption of official language of union, essential of parliamentary form of government, elected head of state, written constitution and bicameral legislature. Arctic Council, no. Durand line between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Acting Chief Justice appointed by President, and ad hoc is appointed by CGI. Commute means death sentence changed to imprisonment, remission, lesser punishment, respite, special scenario like pregnancy, reprieve, stay on execution. EVMs not used for election of members of Rajya Sabha. GST Council, central vote. Center vote is actually 1/3, not 3/4, and the state is 2/3. Some fundamental rights are not self-executionary. For example, Article 17. Compoundable offence that has been settled between victim accused leading to withdrawal of arrest. Article 323A, Administration Tribunal established by Parliament only. ECI conducts election of members of Lok Sabha, members of Rajya Sabha, members of state legislative assembly only, and state election commission conducts only for panchayat and municipal corporation, that is for local bodies. Legislative council creation by Rajya Sabha. It passes a resolution, and then following act is passed by Parliament. Legislative council, okay. Mentioned in constitution, financial emergency cabinet mentioned in for emergency provision, where it is mandatory for written recommendation of cabinet for applying emergency. President's rule, judicial review and federalism not mentioned. Under trial prisoners cannot vote in general election, but persons under preventive detention can. Convicted persons can vote but cannot contest elections. No if sentence is more than 2 years. Actually 4 years. Under trial prisoner, no. Yes. Preventive detention, okay. Budgetary chronology, voting on demand for grants, appropriation of bill, passing of finance bill. President cannot return money bill. ED is under Ministry of Finance, CBI, DOPT, powers to investigate both civil and criminal laws. That is of ED. Women's reservation bill only for elected directly bodies, Lok Sabha and state assemblies, not Rajya Sabha and councils. Constitution provides reservation of seats for STs in Lok Sabha and not Rajya Sabha. Constitution is sovereign than Parliament. This is very helpful to solve the NCERT questions. Commonwealth citizenship repealed by Citizenship Amendment Act 2003. Union Constitution Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Union Powers Committee, also Jawaharlal Nehru. Negotiations with state, Jawaharlal Nehru. And Vallabhbhai Patel was for what? Provincial Committee member, chairman. Republic, head is always elected directly or indirectly. Written constitution not mandatory in democracy. Example, UK. CGI appoints arbitrator in event of dispute concerning additional cost incurred by state while complying with union's directives. Andaman Nicobar 10-degree channel, Maldives Lakshadweep 8-degree channel, Nicobar and Sumatra Grand Channel, and Sumatra and Java Sunda Strait. Maximum strength of Council of Ministers of Delhi is 10% of Assembly, not 15%. Panchayat Raj system in all union territories except Delhi. M.N. Roy put forward the idea of Constituent Assembly. Charter Act 1793 gave veto power to Governor General of Bengal. Charter Act of 1833, monopoly ended and Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of India. Bombay plus Madras became subordinate to Bengal. Charter Act of 1853, open civil services. Indian Councils Act 1892, discuss budget. Indian Councils Act 1909 means Monty Morley reform. Muslims got separate electorate. Indian at Executive Council of Viceroy, first time, Satyendra Sinha. Government of India Act 1919, hierarchy in province. Christians, Sikh also got a voting rights plus separate electorates. Bicameralism at center. Government of India Act 1935 abolished hierarchy, residuary powers with Viceroy. Article 352 National Emergency, 356 President's Rule, 360 Financial Emergency and 368 Constitutional Amendment. Olga Telis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation placed right to livelihood as right to life in Article 21. Contempt of subordinate court, power to High Court, to District Court, not District Court, to punish. Acha. If there is contempt of subordinate court, then subordinate court doesn't have the power to punish for contempt. High Court will punish for contempt on behalf of subordinate court. Chief Justice of High Court acts as in administrative capacity. He is subjected to writ jurisdiction of any other judges of High Court. Okay. Motion of removal of judge. lapses on dissolution of Lok Sabha. This statement is false statement. It does not lapse. Public prosecutor has no role in investigation case in investigation stage. Special leave petition allows a person to appeal to Supreme Court against any judgment, decree, determination passed by any court or tribunal. Discretionary. It is not mandatory for Supreme Court. Exception: military court and court martial. Power to issue writs: Supreme Court and High Court only. Not any subordinate court, not Gram Nyayalays, not anyone. Not applicable to subordinate court and tribunals. PIL can also be filed in High Court. Quasi-judicial bodies: NHRC, UPSC, SEBI and Finance Commission. NIA does not constitute under quasi-judicial bodies. Family court: state government establishes them in consultation with High Court. Appeals lie at High Court, not District Court. Transfer of High Court judges precedent in consultation with Chief Justice of India. Rule of locus standi: the principle that only the person whose rights are violated can seek judicial redress. Parole: system of releasing a prisoner with suspension of sentence. It is not right. Bar Council of India: empowered to allow foreign lawyers and firms to practice in India. Appointment of persons other than district judge to judicial service of state by governor. High Court has power to review its own judgment. This power is not similar to Supreme Court because Supreme Court's power to review is constitutionally guaranteed but High Court is not. Supreme Court of India was established on January 26, 1950. H.N. Sanyal Committee: contempt of court. National Green Tribunal: disposal of cases, appeals within 6 months. Doctrine of severability: if some part of law violates fundamental rights, only that unconstitutional part is struck down while the remaining valid part continues to operate. Good. Doctrine of colorable legislation: legislation cannot do directly what it is not permitted to do indirectly. D.K. Basu versus Government of Bengal. Procedure for arrest, detention and interrogation of any person. Constitution not fixed. Term of office of Rajya Sabha. RPI 1951 states that it is 6 years, not constitutions. Okay. President's assent in Article number 3. Article 3 is required and prior assent is required for Article 3. Article 3 states about alteration of boundaries. Not an constitutional amendment under Article 368. Yes. Not in constitutional amendment under. So Article 368 amendments that are constitutional amendments do not require prior assent of President. But for Article 3's amendment, prior assent is required. RPI 1950 prepares electors. RPI 1951 prepares election disputes. Half states ratification in matter of election of president. Yes. Representation of states in parliament lists in 7th schedule. Okay. Article 54 election of president. Article 75 appointment of prime minister. 155 appointment of governor. 257 executive power of state not to impede exercise or execute power of union. To vote in public elections is not a fundamental duty. Economic justice mentioned in preamble plus DPSP, not economic liberty. Just remember this. Constituent assembly, when meeting as constituent body, chairman was Rajendra Prasad. When legislative body, the chairman was G.V. Malvankar. Temporary president was Dr. Sachinda Sinha. Assembly had 2 vice presidents, H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari. Substantive equality: achieving actual equality in outcomes and opportunities. The parliament, not president, empowered to restrict fundamental rights of armed forces. Court martial proceedings are subjected to writ jurisdiction of High Court and Supreme Court. Constitution has fixed both maximum and minimum strength of state legislative assembly. Minimum is 60, maximum is 500. Trap fixes both for state legislative assembly but only maximum for parliament. Lok Sabha maximum is 530, from states and 20 from union territories. Rajya Sabha maximum is 238 and 12 nominated. Fixed for state legislative assembly council, also maximum cannot exceed one third of assembly, and minimum cannot go down below 40. Only 3 union territories, Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir, out of 8 union territories have legislative assemblies. Simple majority, meaning majority of members present and voting, more than 50% of votes casted. Absolute majority, majority of total membership of house, greater than 50%. Effective majority, effective is equal to total strength minus vacancies, more than 50% of effective strength. Special majority, majority of total membership plus two-thirds of member present and voting. Constitutional amendment. Money bill, simple majority. No confidence motion, simple. Removal of speaker and deputy speaker, effective majority. Removal of vice president, effective majority. Removal of judges of Supreme Court and CGI, special majority. Removal of judges of High Court, removal of CAG, special. Impeachment of president, special. Effective in Rajya Sabha, simple in Lok Sabha. Acha, for vice president, yes. Constitutional amendment, special. Trend, parliamentary post is by effective majority, and institution watchdog plus president is special majority. Okay. President appoints additional judge to High Court until backlog is clear. She appoints acting judge just for temporary substitution. Additional judge period cannot exceed more than 2 years, but both cannot hold office after attaining 62 years. Whip is not constitutional nor statutory, it is parliamentary convention. Power to expand jurisdiction of High Court lies with Parliament only. Power to review its own judgment exists by law and not by constitution. President's minimum required age is 35, Vice President 35, Governor 35, Lok Sabha 25, Rajya Sabha 30. And for Panchayat Raj and Municipal Corporation 21 years. If Rajya Sabha declares it necessary in national interest for Parliament to make laws with respect to a matter in state list, then Parliament can make laws. The laws made under this provision cease to remain in force after 1 year. Okay. No prior approval of President is required for introducing money bills in state legislature, even during financial emergency. 1/10 quorum house, prescribed by constitution, not in any law or rules. NHRC can investigate suo motu cases but can recommend compensation prosecution against guilty. Constituent assembly members election, each community by proportional representation and not by first past the poll system, plus there were separate electorates. Reservation for OBC is for both appointment plus reservation in promotion also. 85th Constitutional Amendment 2001, consequential seniority to allow reserved category candidates to retain seniority over the category peers. Compensation guaranteed for land acquisition under personal cultivation within a ceiling limit. Only the judge which is transferred can challenge it, no PIL. Okay. Statements made under the influence of drugs do not represent conscious voluntary response and thus cannot be used as evidences in court. Yes, like narco test. Narco analysis polygraph cannot be used as evidence. Involuntary administration of such test infringe upon fundamental rights under Article 21. But any material fact discovered on information revealed in voluntary narco test can be admitted as evidence. Morley Minto reform 1909 introduced indirect elections for first time, Muslim separate electorate. CVC lacks authority to order CBI in order to investigate officers holding a rank of joint secretary or higher. It lacks power to register criminal cases and is confined to dealing with vigilance and disciplinary matters only. President and governor during tenure, absolute criminal immunity, and for civil immunity is limited. Personal acts, civil suit possible. After 2 months of written notice, not criminal. Even if he murders someone, we can't do anything about him. Northeastern states are not included in zonal councils. They are covered in the Northern Eastern Councils under NEC Act 1972. President, after consultation with governor, can, by public notification, specify socially and educationally backward class in central list and state union territories. This list applies only for central government purposes. Inclusion exclusion in central list done only by parliament. Okay. Interim government of 1946, Viceroy retained the right to veto legislative proposals. Citizenship, enemy trading during war, yes, deprive. Absent for 7 years continuously, deprive. Normally foreign citizenship, automatic loss of Indian citizenship. During foreign citizenship, automatic war. Termination suspended until central government decides persons retains Indian citizenship during war. Okay. Nominated members by governor to council needs to be ordinary resident of states, not specific elector to any assembly constituency. Writ jurisdiction of Supreme Court is not available and not immune from legislative executive restrictions. Government of India Act 1935 established All India Federation, RBI and JPSC. Sarojini Naidu was appointed to Constituent Assembly from Bihar. Right now, AAP and BSP holds national party status. During national emergency, Parliament can by law extend tenure for state legislative assembly at 1 year at a time. Election to Panchayat shall not be called in question except by election petitioner presented to such authority in such a manner as may be provided by or unless any law made by legislature of state, not High Court. Advice tendered by Council of Ministers to Governor cannot be questioned in court of law. Matters related to the constitutionality of amendment of Act of Parliament are referred to Constitution Bench, not Supreme Court. 0 hour neither mentioned in Constitution nor in Rule of Procedure and Conduct of Business. Speaker of Lok Sabha resignation submit to Deputy Speaker. Term of office of Rajya Sabha provided in RPI 1951 and not in Procedure and Conduct of Business in Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha elections and state legislative council elections are by open ballot and system of proportional representation. Open ballot mainly for indirect elections to prevent party defections. Lok Sabha elections, state legislative elections, president, local body, secret vote. Unlike Speaker, the chairman does not possess the power to chairman of Rajya Sabha does not possess the power to suspend the MP. Speaker directly by power of automatic suspension by taking name. Rajya Sabha chairman motion must be moved by member of House by leader of the House for suspension of that member. Panel of chairpersons is nominated by different political parties and appointed by Speaker. Orders of delimitation commission cannot be challenged in question before any court of law. Modification to these orders are not permitted by Parliament. A person can be elected to Rajya Sabha if she is citizen of India and 30 years. There is no requirement that she elected by state legislative assembly must have her domicile in concerned state. Article 39A to provide free legal aid to poor, 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976. 45. Education for all children under 6 years of age. This is DPSP. Article 86 Constitution 2002. Right to education enshrined under Article under right to freedom. Article 29. All minorities. Article 30. Only religious minorities and linguistic minorities. IRQLO case 9th schedule blanket immunity struck down. Dissolution of state legislative assembly will not be a ground for preventing the hold of elections on expiration of term of president. Limits of territorial waters by under limits of territorial waters by under law of parliament. Doctrine of escheat. Government becomes legal owner of property when individual dies intestate and does not have an heir. Demand for grants can be made only by prior approval of president and not and in parliament. That means only Lok Sabha. Cabinet committee are not mentioned in constitutions. Judge of Supreme Court conducts inquiry for removal of member of SPSC, State Public Service Commission, and not Judge of High Court. Council of Ministers not exceeding this is done. Constitution does not specify the grounds for removal of governor and vice president. Removal of grounds specified for Supreme Court judge, Chief Election Commission, UPSC, CAG. Grounds not specified. Vice President, Attorney General, Advocate General, Governor, Lok Sabha Speaker, Rajya Sabha Speaker. V.V. Giri is the only president who did not secure required quota to be elected in first round of counting of votes. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy is only president to be elected unopposed till date. Para 5th and 10th schedule. If speaker resigns from party, then no disqualification. Neelam Reddy. This is Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy itself. Constitution prerogative are constitutional powers, rights of president mentioned in in constitution. President cannot return an appropriation or a money bill. Scott mission no. Class legislation refers to laws that discriminate arbitrarily in favor against particular class without reasoning. Supreme Court does not have exclusive original jurisdiction. Supreme Court does not have exclusive original jurisdiction to dispute arising from pre-constitutional treaty. It is actually advisory, not exclusive. A constitutional matter may be heard by Supreme Court by the way of appeal. Passport issued for 10 years. Preamble secures liberty of thought, expression, belief and worship. Kesav Nanda Bharati, Basic Structure Doctrine. Minerva Mills case, Article 31C, right to property subordinate to basic structure. Menika Gandhi, Article 21, procedure established by law must be fair and just. Vaman Rao, 9th schedule laws, judicial review possible. S.R. Bomai, secularism is basic structure of constitution. Article 356 floor test mandatory. Indra Sahani 1992 27% OBC quota 57 ceiling creamy layer. Lily Thomas 2013 convicted MLA MP disqualified immediately. Constitution authorizes Chief Justice of India to appoint other places as seat of Supreme Court only with prior approval of Parliament. Constitution empowers Parliament to alter territory of states without their consent. Article 3. This we saw in the first point itself. Simple majority views of states is ignored. Article 23.2. Nothing shall prevent the state from imposing a compulsory service without pay for public purposes. Totalitarianism. Form of government characterized by centralized and absolute control over all aspects of public and private life. Lucknow Pact 1916 Congress Muslim League Compromise. Congress accepted separate electorate Muslim electorate. 1919 Monty-Morley reform separate electorates to Sikhs. 1935 cabinet mission provincial assemblies basis for constituent assembly election separate electorate used. Hence separate electorates were followed for election of constituent assembly. Completed the story. Case of Nanda Bharti. Preamble is not source of power to legislate. Salary of High Court on consolidated fund of state, but pension is on consolidated fund of India. Parts of Constitution. Okay, this is I think the basic. I don't think so I need to do this. British Constitution, we took rule of law, cabinet. Writs parliamentary privileges, US Constitution, uh, fundamental rights, judicial review, vice president. Irish DPSP nomination of members to Rajya Sabha. Canada, federation with strong center, residuary powers with center. Australian Constitution concurrent list joint setting. Germany election emergency. Russia fundamental duties. French liberty, equality, fraternity. Japan procedure established by law. Fundamental duties added by constitutional amendment of 1976. Constitution rejects bill, does not act for 3 months, and council rejects bill, does not act for 3 months, and for parliament it is 6 months. Then assembly may pass bill again and transmit the same. If this is not passed accepted within 1 month, then the bill is deemed to be passed. Okay, this is a basic article. We need to remember these following articles. You may go through this. President, Governor, MLA, MP. Criminal proceedings cannot be initiated, may be initiated anytime, can be initiated anytime for MLA, MP, criminal proceedings. And for civil proceedings, everyone is not immune. Possible for 2 months notice, if 2 months notice is given, and possible but 40 days prior wala natak. Okay. Designation of national flag, 22nd July 1947. National anthem, national emblem. Okay. 42nd Constitutional Act, this socially secular and integrity. Right to vote and to be elected is constitutional right. Constitution status on 26th January 1950, sovereign democratic republic. Economic liberty is not mentioned in preamble. Economic justice is mentioned in preamble and DPSP. Okay, coming to the last page now. I think I made the notes a little bit lengthy, but it covers everything basically that I need. So I think anything more than 10 pages can be lengthy to revise, but I think this is for only 8 pages, and I don't plan to expand these notes any further as of now. Constitution adopted on 26 November 1949. It came into effect on 26th January 1950. There is only one citizenship, one domicile. National Council of Teachers, no. Remember this: right to equality 14 to 18, right to freedom 19 to 22, exploitation 23-24, religion this household. A bill passed by both houses, pending for president's assent. Lok Sabha dissolves, then the bill does not lapse. Policy cut motion disapproval. A member who has moved a resolution cannot withdraw it without permission of House. No confidence motion does not need to state the reasons. A bill restricting trade and commerce of state requires prior permission of state of president before prior permission of state requires prior permission of a bill restricting trade commerce of state requires permission from president. Attorney General of India enjoys all privileges and immunity of MP except right to vote. Citizenship lose if citizen has within 5 years after registration or naturalized been imprisoned in any country for 2 years. Article 19 Article 19 suspended only when emergency declared on war and external not for armed conflict. Article 359 President can order suspending right to move to court for entire of fundamental rights except Article 20 and 21. To order to set free arrested persons not lawfully arrest or ground habeas corpus. Certificate of naturalization residence required for 11 years in 14 years, 11 years and preceding for 14 years, 12 months immediately before applications. President can limit operation of emergency to specified part of India. Emergency for whole or any part of India. President bound by aid and advice of Council of Ministers. This was inserted by 42nd Amendment 1976. JPSC is statutory and not constitutional body. Interpol Silver Notice, tracing covering criminal assets. State Human Rights Commission can inquire in subject only mentioned in concurrent and state list. State community definition, territory government free of external control. Fundamental rights applicable only to citizens. Okay, fundamental rights applicable to citizens. This was the important thing that I was speaking about earlier. Article 15, Article 16, Article 19, and 29, 30 are only applicable to citizens only, not foreigners. Leader of opposition salary and allowances, it is mentioned in this act. No time limit on speaker to decide 10th schedule. Preamble. Okay, you can go through it afterwards. DPSP. Bearing on education. Acha, education is almost in everything. In DPSP, in 5th, 6th, 7th, 11th, and 12th schedule. 91st Constitutional Amendment provided for 15% cap on Council of Ministers. CFI appropriation from Lok Sabha only, and not president and not for Rajya Sabha. Actually, this is incorrect. And only for Lok Sabha, not Rajya Sabha. I don't know what I had written there. These are some tricks to remember for parts of Constitution, and this is a trick to remember the schedules. International Criminal Court, no, not required. PIL, introduced by PN Bhagwati. High Court and Supreme Court, age 62, 65, advocate for High Court of 10 years, High Court Chief Justice for 5 years, 10 years advocate, distinguished jurist in eye of President. Guwahati High Court is a common High Court for Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, and Arunachal Pradesh. This is an acronym for legislative councils constituted under various states. Government can deregister political party, not Election Commission of India. Finance Commission members includes five members including chairman. Northeastern Council's chairman, Union Home Minister, Vice Chairman, Minister of State, ex officio Governor, plus Chief Ministers of 8 states, nominated 3 members by President, besides 7 sisters. 1 Sikkim is also added in this. So I guess that is it for my polity notes. This might appear a little bit lengthy, but when I read these notes or when I revise, I just go through important points that I have highlighted here, like this. Only the important points I go through, and by doing repetition multiple times, I get an overall idea that the things I forget and the things I need to remember, like this parts of Constitution I need to remember, the important articles I need to remember. In this way I have made my notes, and for this attempt I am just going to revise multiple times the notes that I have shown you. That is it for this video. Thank you.